Thank you.
Hey kids, you are watching Wake Up Call Live with Christina Previn, and my guest today is Bendtzen. She is going to give us some tips on how to beat anxiety and bring joy into your life. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to talk to you today because I think that how to beat anxiety is a very hot topic right now, given everything that is going on in the world with COVID. I mean, we have stress and anxiety on an ordinary day. Yeah. But lately, it seems that we have a lot more to actually be stressful and anxious about. So I think this topic is very timely. So if you could just tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, my name is Megan Bendtzen, and I have a company called Life Bacon. And what I do is I help people find their sizzle, which, it for me, I have always kind of struggled with what I want to be when I grow up. And always felt like I was meant for something more, like I liked my job. I liked what I was doing, but I just felt like, gosh, what is it? Like, there's something more, and I think a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people just kind of become complacent and get comfortable. And I wholeheartedly believe that within every person, there is like this flame and this calling. And so that's what I do with Life Bacon is I help people ignite that flame. And so I call it find your sizzle and, lean into your purpose and make some sort of positive impact on the world.
I agree. And I love your story. If you could share a little bit more, hopefully I'm not outing you. I think there are a lot of people that are very unhappy, and there are people that stay in professions that they don't love. They stay in jobs they don't love. They stay in relationships that they don't love. And, they don't really just go out there and live life and go after all the things that they really want. I always say they go for the life they think they can have, not the one that they really want. But I think you're a great example of someone who was in that position at some point, but you just did something really bold very recently.
I did.
What?
I did. And it was a culmination of many years of work, because I always kind of struggled with this notion of what is it? Like, what am I meant for? And I would take just all kinds of classes and personal development and personal growth. And, I was reading books and I had counselors and just so much training. And I would be watching people rising up all around me. And here I was still just living this just feeling like life was passing me by. And when I look back on what that was, like, what was the difference between what other people were doing, like people I looked up to, all around me some of them were going through the same experience as I was. We were in the same leadership classes. They were rising and there I was, just status quo. And it was, it all came down to choices. That's all it was that they made choices that propelled them forward. And I was making choices based on beliefs that I had about myself that were limiting beliefs. And so I would be scared and afraid and just feeling like, what are other people going to think? Who am I? Because I wholeheartely believe in my message and what I do. But I would get caught up in, well, who am I to be the one to deliver that,
Yeah. Imposter syndrome?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people have that, but tell us what you did.
Yeah.
Recently, like 2 months ago.
Right, yeah. So what I ended up doing, because I finally woke up, like I finally realized, oh my gosh, I finally figured it out. I woke up to my life. And it was a result of a series of things and a discovery of 5 ingredients to living a purposeful and passionate life. And I so wholeheartedly believe in these 5 steps that I was like, I have got to teach these to other people. And so I had the job that I was in was a wonderful job. I'd been there for 14 years. I had a 6-figure income. I had a company car. I had so many perks, all the benefits. And I walked away from all of it in the middle of a pandemic, right? We're in the middle of COVID. A lot of uncertainty out there right now. And, but I so passionately believe in these steps that I left all that so that I could teach these steps to other people.
I think that's awesome. I applaud you for that, because there are so many people that become sort of paralyzed. You know, they're not able to make any changes because they have a lot of fear, guilt, and things like you mentioned already, that worrying about what other people are going to think. Sometimes worrying about what people very close to you, like your spouse or your parents or whomever, what they're going to think. You know, did you have people around you that were encouraging you, or were they like, you're crazy, what are you doing?
I'm so lucky because my family, my husband is so behind me 100%. So that was, you know, I was actually very afraid to tell my mother that I was quitting my job because, you know, she's very concerned and just, you know, and same with my sister and her husband. They're, you know, it's precaution, you know, take precaution. And so I was so scared to tell them that I was walking away from this stable job and, you know, to starting at ground zero, starting at nothing.
Well, I think a lot of people can really relate to that. So I think that the fact that you've done it, you can tell other people that they should do that, or help guide them through that, because you have done it before. Right?
Absolutely. And it fits. I had to do it because that's what I teach. It's part of the 5 steps, you know, it's part of the process.
So tell us, I'm dying to know, and I apologize to the viewers if you get a little hungry listening to this bacon stuff, because I do when you talk about it. So, but tell us, you know, and tell us how this fits into beating anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. So I call it the 5 steps to bacon, because bacon is not only, it's a metaphor that we use for whatever it is that makes us better. So again, my company is called Life Bacon. And generally speaking, when you add bacon to something, you just took it to the next level. You know, you made it better. so that's what we're about. It's about taking your life to the next level, making it better, and bacon is the metaphor that we use. But it's also an acronym, and there are, it's called the 5 steps to bacon, BACON. And I can't go into the in-depth of all of them, but I can tell you what each letter stands for, and then I want to go into one of the letters because that's how we're going to beat anxiety today. So B stands for the brainstorm. And the A stands for accountability. And the C stands for committed action. And the O stands for overjoyed, which is what we're talking about today. And the N stands for noble acts. So it is a process that starts with the B, goes all the way to the end, and is a full circle process. And within each step, there's an even deeper dive with 3 key ingredients in each step as well. But it's all part of, I have a 90-day coaching program. It's called Finding Your Sizzle, 90 Days on Fire coaching program. And it's a super deep dive into the 5 steps to bacon. There's an online course and group coaching, and it's a fun class.
So but you want to change your life for the better, you can help them do that.
Come join the Find Your Sizzle. Yeah.
Sharing the bacon. I would love to do the deep dive, but I know we don't have time for that today. So you're going to share the O with us today.
The O. Yes, the O, which stands for overjoyed. And I love this one because it's something that a lot of people tend to think that joy and laughter and celebration is something to be earned. Like that's the result, the end game. Like that's what we get to do after putting in all of our time, we're putting in all of this effort. That's at the end of it. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't start incorporating that, it's part of the process. It's how you will get there. It needs to be incorporated daily, and it will provide so much more clarity and focus and drive to whatever it is that you're going after, and even like right now in the world that we're in, there is so much anxiety and stress and uncertainty. And a lot of people have just been worrying since day one of this and are just drowning in worry. And so this is critical. And I have three things that you can do to bring more joy into
Tell
it.
us.
Okay. So the first thing, and this is so easy to do, the first thing is laughing. And that is, I mean, anybody in any language, it's the same in any language. Laughing is a universal thing. Now, not only are there actual health benefits, they've actually been studying laughter and how it affects our bodies and our health. I mean, we already know that stress and anxiety and all of those, burnout just wreak havoc on our bodies. I mean, appalling statistics about the detrimental health effects. So laughter actually has so many positive effects to counteract what stress and burnout and anxiety will cause. So just incorporating some laughter into your day will not only give you some health benefits to your physical health, but also your mental health. When you can laugh more, like when you can laugh at yourself, it's so much easier to forgive mistakes that you make, or just to not take yourself so seriously. Sometimes we just become so paralyzed and afraid of doing anything, of how we're going to look, that
sometimes we just make them too serious, right?
Yes.
Like take a load off, right?
Yes.
Like, everything isn't so serious all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes it seems so counterintuitive, because when you're in the middle of you've got a project or a deadline or something that is just weighing on you, and you are so pressured to get it done, and the last thing you would think of is stepping away and going and having a good laugh about something. And it is amazing if you give that a shot. I guarantee you'll be able to come back to your work with more clarity, more focus, because laughing will actually open different parts of your brain. It'll allow you to think better. It'll allow you to focus better. So it's important.
I laugh all the time. I don't really take much too seriously. But what about people that are just kind of have this natural inclination to just, be serious all the time? We know people like that. We all know somebody like that.
Yes, we do.
What do you tell them to do? Like, take a break and go watch a movie? What do they do?
Yeah, they got to lighten up. They got to figure out what it is that's going to light them up. Because for me, I mean, it doesn't take much. I can laugh at just about anything. So I like comedy. I like funny movies. I like little funny clips. There's, jokes, funny stories. So you got to just figure out what that is and have it easily accessible. Because like I said, when you're in it, when you're stressed out, you're not usually thinking about, oh, I need to go take a break and laugh. So you've got to have it, put a Post-it note with a funny saying, or, have a clip handy right on your phone. That just go Google or YouTube funny clips. I mean, if it's like Anna, there's so many funny animal videos out there.
I just shared Deb Mason's comment, watch funny cat videos. I mean, it is funny how you can just go on YouTube and there's fail videos. There's always something that, if you're in the worst mood, there is something that can make you laugh. And I think you're absolutely right. You raise a good point that sometimes we need to actually make a proactive effort to find something to laugh at, because it really is good therapy.
You know, have you ever heard of Norman Cousins?
I think I have.
So this guy, this was, I think, back in the 70s, and he was diagnosed with this degenerative disease, this rare disease, and he was given like 3 months to live. And so he checked himself out of the hospital because he did not want to be surrounded by sickness and, you know, illness and sadness. And he moved across the street to a hotel, and he got his doctor on board with this idea and rented all these funny movies, asked all of his friends to call him with funny stuff. And I mean, the upshot of the story is he literally laughed himself back to health. He lived another 23 years. He wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness, which is all about his survival. It's incredible, an incredible story. And I love that story because laughter is the best medicine.
Well, there's so much data on cortisol, which,
yeah,
you know, I'm not going to get in. I don't even know really the science behind it, but there's so much science about that you can just Google about cortisol. It's called the stress hormone, and how when you're stressed, like you could just have cortisol, you know, pumping through your veins, and it's really detrimental to your health.
That's true. And there is a statistic that actually shows that laughing reduces cortisol by 23%.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah.
I love that you brought that up because that is an actual proven thing. So that's really cool.
All right. So that's everyone's homework assignment today. Go laugh if you haven't done it already. You know, laugh multiple times.
That's one thing you can do. And that's a super easy thing to do. So another thing that you can do is celebrate. Now, this is something that, again, generally people will put off celebrating until they've earned it, right? Until I can celebrate once I complete that project, or if I get the job, then I'll celebrate, you know. But if you look back on your life, and you look at the pivotal moments that led you down a path that, you know, changed your life in such a positive way for the better, it was probably some really horrible thing that happened. You know, it was probably when you made a huge mistake, or when you fell flat on your face, or when you failed at something, you didn't get the job interview, you know, you didn't get the job. And it caused you to really reflect and to look and to make some changes and to grow and to learn. And so that is a huge victory. That's a huge victory, and that needs to be celebrated. And oftentimes we don't think of celebrating our mistakes and our failures, but that is absolutely something to celebrate. And it will do two things. If you can actually start the practice of celebrating your mistakes, it's gonna, number one, it's gonna stop the self beat up, you know, because generally if you make a mistake, you immediately beat yourself up. Oh God, why did I do that? I look like an idiot. I'm never doing that again. Yeah. And so it will actually change that conversation. It will change that belief, because now if you're celebrating that and you're congratulating yourself on getting up despite the mistake you just made, it will help change that belief that you have. And the second thing is it will give you permission to do it again, you know, and be more willing to try again next time. Because a lot of times when we make a mistake, or if we failed at that job interview or whatever it was, we're afraid to try that again because we don't want to fail again. We don't want to make the mistake. But if our mind and our body is conditioned that, no, this is something that we celebrate, absolutely, I'm going to try again. I'm going to go for that again, because that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think Oprah always says that there's no such thing as failure. It's just the universe, pointing you in a different direction.
That's absolutely right. As long as you keep going, there's no such thing as failure. The only, yeah, unless, I mean, if you don't get up, if you quit, then that's a different story. So
yeah.
you got to keep
Somebody
going.
else I know always said, I'm just full of quotes today. Somebody else I know always says that people don't fail, they quit.
Yeah.
So think about that, people.
Exactly right. So the other piece of celebration is, what does that look like? How do I celebrate my mistakes? Because it's not like I'm going to send out party invitations and
Yeah.
When we think about celebrating, a lot of times we think of a party and people and dancing and music. And, I'm all for that kind of celebration, but there's many ways to celebrate and to, really cherish yourself. And some ideas for that might be, just taking a walk out in nature, or laying in a hammock and daydreaming for a while. Or, when was the last time you just did absolutely nothing?
Because we feel guilty. I do. I feel guilty. Like I should be doing something. I should be productive right now.
I have that too. I know. It's the guilt, the guilt complex. But it's changing that mindset. It's realizing that, no, this is going to forward me. This is part of the journey forward. This is part of the road to success. This is part of what's going to allow me to finish this project and, get that job interview or whatever it is that you're taking on. It's part of the process. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways to celebrate: meditation, yoga, dancing. Yeah, there's.
What about drinking?
I do love myself a cocktail, so I'm not going to say no to that. But everyone has their own. Yeah, in moderation, right?
Yeah, in moderation.
Yes. So that brings us to step 3. The third piece, the third way that you can add a little joy to your life, is being playful. Now, this is something that is probably going to be the hardest one for some people, because as adults, a lot of times it's frowned upon or looked at as immature or childish, but if you look at kids and their just absolute innocence and zest and anything is possible attitude, and their creativity and just energy, that is something to tap into. And when you can tap into that kid inside, that little superhero kid that believes anything's possible, that's when the magic happens. That's when you're going to be able to nail that interview and finish that project and, get creative, when you're opening up parts of your brain that haven't been working in a long time.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good point, because I have a goddaughter who's 7, and I love watching her play. She and pretend and use her imagination, because her imagination is limitless.
Yeah.
But then as we become adults and we, maybe we've had people telling us that we can't do something. You can't do that. You're not good enough to do that. You're not smart enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. Just these different influences coming at us all the time. By the time you're, 30 or 40 or 50, you've been maybe listening to those things for decades.
Yeah.
You lose that ability sometimes.
Oh, and especially if you suffer from OPO, which is something I suffered from and still struggle with every now and then. And that is other people's opinions. Yeah. And we get so caught up in worrying about what other people think and how we're going to look, that we become paralyzed. And so it's really a challenge to, and I challenge everyone, today to find a way to play, to bring out that kid inside today. If it can be, get out some crayons and paper and color, draw a picture, write a silly poem, come up with a silly dance move, or go play in the grass. Just watch little kids and see what they do.
What do you do?
Oh my gosh. You know what I did yesterday? Because this is so funny, because I was having a little bit of a stressful day, and I was down in the kitchen talking with my husband, and he's like, you are so, we can spot it, and I was like, I got to be my own student right now, because I am letting myself get caught up in stress. Skipping. When was the last time you skipped around your house?
You're right. I don't know.
There is something so, I don't know. You just got to do it. I just go skip down the hall when we're done with this and see what that does for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
that I like going on the swings. I love going to a park. There's adult size swings.
Yeah, I love swings.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, see, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things, and I have so many ideas. And if you feel silly at first, then you're on the right track. You're doing it right. So just keep going.
Yeah.
But I have, if you're stuck, I have a free gift for the listeners today. Anybody that would like to learn more about how to incorporate joy into their life. I'm writing my first ebook, and it's completed. And I'm putting the finishing touches on it. But if you want to reserve your copy, just click on the link in the comments, and I will send it to you. And
can I have one?
Yes.
Send me one.
It's the Life Bacon Playbook, and it's called Let's Get Serious About Having Fun, because it is a serious business. Like you have to incorporate fun and joy into your life, or you are headed for disaster. It's such a toll on your health to be stuck in stress and anxiety and worry. So you've got to incorporate some joy and fun into your life. So click on the link, and it's not a novel, I promise you. It'll be a quick read, but it's going to give you some stats that will be a little bit shocking about some of the things that stress and negativity causes, and then the flip side of that, of course, with what joy and laughter will do for you. And then how to recognize when your tank is empty. And then I got a whole playlist of ideas on how to incorporate laughter and celebration and playfulness into your life. And there's actually a contest that I'm running within the book. And if you participate in the contest, then you get entered to win. I'm giving away a free spot in my 90-day coaching program.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Ooh.
That's a big prize. Yeah.
Deb says to try hula hooping.
I love Deb. Hi, Deb. Oh, I'm so glad you're watching.
Good ideas there. Yeah, and just to kind of build on what you said, I think it can be hard initially to get into this idea of unleashing your inner child again. Excuse me. So it takes a little practice, right? Like, you're not going to do it in one day. But try to think about, and I ask people this question sometimes, and it's really interesting how people have to really think about it. Like, what makes you feel like a little kid again? Like, what can you think of that brings that joy out?
Yeah. And again, that's tough for some people.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And so, yeah, I think starting with the first one, which is the laughter, and just get yourself in the practice of feeling, what that feels like to have your body experience some lightness and some joy and laughter. And then you'll be surprised because it'll start opening parts of your brain that you forgot about, and you will start remembering the things that you enjoyed as a kid, and it will be that much easier to make your own playlist of
Yeah.
things to do and keep it right near, put it right next to your computer, put it on your nightstand, put it on your mirror so that you can remember to incorporate that daily.
I think it's wonderful advice. I'm actually going to try some of these things because I think as adults and with responsibilities and obligations and all the things that I know people have going on at home, a lot of people might be out of work or they're working from home and they've got kids at home, and it's we'll be homeschooling again soon. So that's a lot, that's a lot of responsibility to have to deal with on a daily basis, but we can't make those things go away. But these are wonderful coping mechanisms that can alleviate some of that anxiety for people that can actually be pretty powerful and debilitating for some people.
It's so true, because in order for us to be able as people to endure everything that's coming at us, with everything you just mentioned and whatever additional stuff that people are dealing with, because every family has their own stuff, and job related stuff and your own personal stresses, in addition to all of the stuff happening in the world. I mean, for humans to be able to actually endure that, there's got to be that balance, and that's how you can think of it. In order for me to be able to handle this, I have to bring this up as well. And so this is the fun and the joy and the laughter, and that's going to help you better be able to respond and to handle all the stresses that life throws at you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing a lot of this good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
So I highly encourage everyone to download your ebook and enter the contest to win a free spot on your program.
Yeah.
So
please do.
So download the book, but where else can people find you if they're interested in learning more about you?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So I'm on Instagram at Life Bacon Megan. I am on Facebook, Megan Bendtzen, or you can just look up Life Bacon. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel. Again, just look up Life Bacon and you'll find me.
All right. And you know what? We'll put links to all of those things in the comments. So if anybody's interested, they can just look in the comments and they'll know where to find you.
Thank you. And I'm always putting out free little videos and how to build your confidence, how to overcome procrastination. So yeah, we'd love to see you out there.
Watching them.
Yeah.
Okay, that was fun.
But how to create more time.
Thank you guys for watching Divorce Happy Hour. And thank you again, Megan. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Christina.